Good afternoon. Well, it's after Mayor. It's coming to, it's like 4:30, 4:40 right now, whatever it is. Coming to 5 o'clock soon. Hope you guys enjoyed my video I made yesterday. Excuse the noise, someone's cutting grass. My neighbor, right? Yeah. Was it busy day at Over 40? Yeah, it was, man. It was fucking busy, man. And I wasn't as stressed out today as I was like yesterday. Because it wasn't like a Sunday weekend busy, but it was still busy at Over 40. And today I was also tired too, man. Yeah, man. This Thursday I'm off, so I'm going to apply to the McDonald's. Excuse the noise. I'm going to apply to the McDonald's this, Yeah, it's not my neighbor, it's my stepdad. He's cutting grass. Yeah, outside, right? So if you're gonna look on a job, yeah, I will. I'm gonna apply to the Tim Hortons here in Elmer, the one downtown, not the one in Dining near Darcy, the one in downtown Elmer. I'll apply there to Tim Hortons, and I'll apply to the McDonald's this Thursday. This Thursday, I'll apply to the McDonald's. After I make my video in the morning, I'll go to the McDonald's and I'll apply there. Ivan, you want full-time? Yeah, I'm going to ask for full-time hours. Cashier or line? No, line. I can't do cashier. I don't speak fluent French. To do cashier at McDonald's, you have to speak fluent French. Whereas when you work line, you don't have to speak fluent French. You just have to know a little bit of French. Understand the orders, which I do understand the orders. But yeah, I understand the orders. Yeah. I'm also gonna apply to Tim Hortons. I'll apply for the back, make the donuts. Yeah. If I get the job, I'm gonna tell the Over 40 boss. I'll give him my 2-week notice. Yeah, I can work for you for 2 weeks, but after 2 weeks, I'm done. I got another job. He's like, why, Ivan? Why do you want to leave? I'm like, yeah, I don't want to be rude, but the work here is a bit tough on my body. He's like, Ivan, I can easily do dishes. Well, if you can easily do dishes, why aren't you doing the dishes? There's a reason why you don't want to do the dishes, because you know it's a lot of work, man. The Over 40 boss knows working dishwashing at Over 40 is a lot of work. It's tiring shit, man. Like right now, I'm tired again. I'm very fucking tired, man. My body's drained. Whereas Dinty's, even though it's a lot of work, it's not as bad as Coco Food. Dinty's is not bad. Well, it depends when you work. Like Fridays, if you work alone, it's crazy busy. That's also stressing shit too. I used to work Fridays alone for like a month, and I was stressed out because the restaurant's packed and busy. But Dinty's on Fridays, they have 2 dishwashers. But Dinty's is not as bad as Over 40, man. Over 40 is more work because you have to take out a lot more garbage. You have to mop, and yeah, today I have to do the order when I arrive to work. I have to do the order, a huge order that came in. Yeah. The Over 40 boss is like, fuck, man. Ivan doesn't want to work anymore because the work's tough on his body. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, sorry, man, the work's tough on my body. Yeah. Yeah. Look, I don't want to work Saturdays alone, man. Like, working weekends alone is not fun. Yeah, man. That's why I'm looking for another job. Because now that Anthony left, the boss, I'll have Ivan work Saturday, Sunday alone. I'm like, look, man, I'm not working fucking Sundays alone, man. Ivan will help. Yeah, even though the guys help me out, they don't help me out that much. Like, they slack off, and I still have to do the dirty work, yeah. The guy did help me out a lot yesterday. The boss's younger brother, he works there now, right? He helped me out quite a bit on Sunday, but even then, I still have to do a lot of work, man. And take all the garbage, I have to mop. It's crazy you go over 40, yeah, man, it's too much work. Yeah. Did you tell Auntie? Yeah, I told Auntie, yeah, man, because you quit and you don't work Sundays anymore, I don't want to work anymore, man. I don't want to work fucking Saturdays alone. Now I feel for Anthony, man. I understand what he went through, man. Because every Saturday the boss put him alone on a Saturday. Yeah. I want to give all you bosses who own restaurants around the world, I want to give you a tip. when you hire a dishwasher, never ever ever put them alone on a weekend. If you do, they're going to quit, guaranteed. They're going to quit on you, man, because you're going to stress them out with all the dishes they have to wash. Weekdays you can work alone, but even weekdays sometimes it can be busy too. But weekdays, yeah, you can put a dishwasher alone. But weekends, never put a dishwasher alone, man. You have to have them work. You have to have at least 2 to 3 dishwashers. Otherwise, the dishwashers are going to quit. They're going to quit on you, yeah, man. And I'm done with dishwashing. Hence why I'm no. If I do apply to a restaurant, I'm going to apply for a line position. Now, I'm never going to apply for dishwashing ever again. I don't want to wash dishes. Washing dishes is not fun, yeah. Because I'm stupid. Every time when I apply at restaurants, I always tell them I'm applying for a dishwashing position. I tell them that, but now I'm like, hey, Ivan, stop being nice. Apply for a line position. Don't do dishwashing. Dishwashing is not fun. Yeah, I don't want to wash dishes anymore, man. It's not fun. Except for Denny's. Denny's, I'll stay there. Even if I get the McDonald's job, I'll still work Tuesday and Wednesday at Denny's because I want to get that chick's number down at Denny's, obviously. She told me she's leaving in like August, September, so I have to get her number down before she leaves, right? Yeah. And that's why the gate's not touching my money, man. Yeah, man. Like, you made me do these shitty jobs for peanuts. The billions off this masterpiece is my money. It's not yours. You're not touching it, man. There you go. So Ivan, the minimum wage shitty jobs is getting to. Yeah, it is. I work so hard for peanuts, man. I make like 800, 900, $1,000, $1,080. I'm supposed to be a multi-billionaire, man. Successful, but the gates betrayed me. They locked all the doors on me. That's why I gotta give you the keys, Ivan. That way you can open your own door. And he gave you the gift. That way you can write your amazing fantasy novel, your masterpiece. Best fantasy novel written, right? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah. And now I understand why the Coco 40 boss hired me, because he couldn't find a dishwasher. They needed a dishwasher. When I applied, I was lucky. They actually needed this. They had no dishwasher. Anthony was their only. They had another guy who was a dishwasher, but he quit, and he came back in last year. He worked for a little bit, and he quit again. The other dishwasher, but it was just Anthony, and Anthony was sick. So when I applied, they actually needed a dishwasher. Hence why he hired me on the spot. I now know why he had a tough time finding a dishwasher, because nobody had no dishwasher. Trust me, work one shift at Coco Fruity on a weekend, and even a weekday, and chances are the dishwashers are going to quit. Some of them will stay, but eventually they're going to end up quitting because the work there is too much. They overwork you. They put you to work there, man. The amount of dishes you have to wash Coco 41's busy. It's crazy, man. The day I had to wash I had like a stack of plates like this high. I'm not exaggerating, guys. Like this high, I had to wash. And in closing was also a lot of dishes too, man. And I had to take out a bunch of garbage today again too. I took out a lot of garbage. I don't know, like 8, 9, 10 garbage bags and like a lot of cardboard, man. It's crazy. And I also had to do the order when I came to work. Yeah. But the other guy mopped for me today because I had a lot of dishes to wash. He mopped. But I told the guy who mopped for me today, I'm like, yeah, I'm looking for another job. He's like, really? Yeah. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to apply to McDonald's and the Tim Hortons. He's like, oh. He understands. Yeah, I understand why you don't want to work, man. My stepdad. Yeah. Sorry, my stepdad knocked on the window. He doesn't like me making videos, right? Yeah. I can like stop making nonsense videos on your YouTube channel, yeah. Because I hate the fact that I expose them and that I have the keys and the whole world's tuning into my channel. Yeah, even though they act like I watch myself, they know the whole world's tuning into my channel. So I have the keys to the kingdom, right? Yeah. I can stop promoting your book. You're embarrassing yourself. They actually tell me that. Well, I even stopped promoting your book, but you know my book is the last hope for me to be king, right? Yeah. It's the hope for me being king. Obviously, I have the keys to the kingdom. Yeah, even with lock doors and Ivan and we act like he watches himself because he has the keys, the whole world's tuning into his channel. Yes, I have the keys to the kingdom. Yeah. Yeah, but if you work at McDonald's, you're going to be stressed out too. Well, McDonald's is busier than Coca 40 because it's a very popular restaurant chain. But I don't have to wash dishes. I just have to flip burgers and make like wraps and like make muffins, and that's not that bad. But every job you do is tiring, obviously. But like dishwashing is very tiring because you have to wash all the dishes, which is tiring, and you have to pick up the heavy plates. Like I pick up like stacks of heavy plates, and that's tiring. Imagine doing that for 6-7 hours a day, 7 hours. And at the end of the day, you also have to close the dish pit and take all the garbage. It's a lot. It's tiring on the body, man. And so I'm looking for another job. And I'm done applying to restaurants. I'm gonna apply to fast food chains. That way I don't have to wash dishes. And if I do apply to a restaurant, I'm gonna apply for a line position. I want to do line. I don't want to wash dishes anymore. I'm sick and tired of washing dishes. Because if you apply to a restaurant, you don't tell them what specific job you want to do at that restaurant. They're gonna put you as a dishwasher by default, right? Because dishwashers are a dime a dozen. Many quit, many come, many quit. Because no one likes washing dishes. It's not fun washing dishes. Amen. Samsara? Yeah. That's why the Xanus brand is mine. The billions are the books from you. It's not for you. You're not touching my money, man. You had me work these minimum wage jobs my whole life. And I wrote this masterpiece, this money off the books from you, BJ. It's not for you. You're not touching my money. There you go. I don't know, the 20 billion bucks I make off the book, that's for me, BJ. It's not for you. You're not touching it. All the trillions in the world goes to you. These billions off the book is for me, BJ. It's not for you. I'm sorry. Yeah. These Ivan, how much money did you make off your book, by the way? I made $20 billion. You made $20 billion off your amazing fashion novel, Ivan? I'm like, yeah. She's like, holy shit, that's a lot of money, Ivan. Ivan, we can build that dream like 700 million our house, I know. We can start on a film studio and fund the movie for like $2.1 billion, I know. You're welcome. Yeah. Make the movie for, if I make 20, I'll make the movie for 2.1 billion. That way I give Peter Jackson and Mel Gibson a $700 million budget per volume, right? 700 million for each of the 3 volumes. Yeah. Yeah. The Congo Footy boss will be a bit pissed off. Yeah, he will. He'll finally hit his mind. Yeah, every dishwasher who works here, they always eventually quit. Yes, because the work at Coco Footy. Excuse the noise, guys. My stepfather is cutting grass. The work at Coco Footy as a dishwasher is dirty work. It's labor, man. You have to wash. Even weekdays are pretty busy sometimes, right? Like if it's dead, it's not that bad. But if it's pretty busy, you're washing a shitload of dishes, man. Especially weekends, man. Like the boss puts a dishwasher alone. You never put a dishwasher alone on a weekend, man. If you do that, they're gonna quit on you, man. You never, ever, ever. That's one tip I want to give all you restaurant owners. Never put a dishwasher alone on a weekend. If you do, that dishwasher is going to quit, guaranteed. It might work for you for maybe a year, maybe 2 years, but eventually they're gonna find another job because you're stressing them out having to wash all those fucking dishes. Yeah, it's not fun working alone on a weekend when it's fucking busy and like plates are coming in every 5 minutes, cutlery, you have to do the garbage, you have to do this, and you stress the dishwasher out, and they end up quitting. Yeah, that's why Anthony quit. Because he found another job. His other job pays more. He found a moving job, obviously. And he could have stayed at Coco Fruity, obviously. Anthony could have easily worked weekends at Coco Fruity, but he decided to quit because the stress got to him, obviously. The boss put him alone on a weekend and he quit. Sundays I worked with him, that's not that bad, but Saturdays they put him on alone. And he always tells me, yeah, man, like working Saturdays is not fun, it's stressing. You tell me how, like, I ended like 4 o'clock, man. He's like, yeah, man, yeah, it's stressing shit. That's why he quit, man. Because it works too much. And now I have to work Saturdays alone, which I don't want to do. I don't want to work Saturdays alone. That's why I don't want to work Sundays alone. That's why I'm looking for a job. Yeah. So give me a second, guys. I'm going to go upstairs and get a coffee myself. I'll be back in a sec. See if we don't want to wait. Right, I'm back, guys. Excuse the noise. The folks are cutting. They're doing yard work. And they're what? In this shitty house, right? Yeah. You guys saw my house. I showed you guys my house when I made that bar video, right? The house I live in is a nice house for a middle class family who makes like 60, 70, 80K a year. But for someone who's a gatekeeper, this is a piece of shit, right? This is a pretty old house. It's like a 40-year-old house. A 40-plus-year-old house. 41-year-old house, yeah. Yeah. For someone who's a middle class family, this is a very nice house. But for someone who's a gatekeeper, this is a piece of shit. Yeah. Some Sarah? Yeah. That's why I got duped. I thought my family were average fucking people, man. Yeah. I remember when I'll tell you a true story. I remember when I thought I was going to Hollywood. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yeah, when I make my millions off my movie, I'm gonna bless my family and give them money, buy them a house and everything. And the whole time they're the fucking gatekeepers and they lock the doors on me and they own Hollywood. Crazy story, huh? I remember I told my parents, yeah, I want to be an actor. I want to go to Hollywood. Yeah, the whole time they were the gatekeepers, they fucking own Hollywood and they're bigger than all the Hollywood actors. I thought they were average people. Yeah. And when I was growing up, I used to see like movies with Will Smith, Keanu Reeves. Man, it would be fucking cool to be a movie star and be a multi-millionaire. I'm like, yeah, that's never gonna happen. The chance of happening is not high. And the whole time the son of God, I have the keys, and I'm bigger than all those guys. Crazy story. Bigger than Will Smith and Keanu Reeves. Crazy, huh? I grew up watching those guys, man. Those are like my idols right now. I wrote the Xanus book, The Brand's Mine. You're not touching the billions. I don't know, the 20 billion on my book, you're not touching, but that's for me. It's not for you. You're just a greedy pig. There you go. Some Sarah? Ivan, your stepmother really told you your book's number one. Yeah, she did. Ivan, your book's number one, and Hollywood love your story. I know, but I'm not selling you, man. This brand's mine. I have the keys. Don't sell to you. Don't hate me. I'm saying, yeah. Don't hate me. Yeah. Yeah, my battery's low, so once I get the notification that I'm at 50%, I'll go upstairs and get my charger, the charger upstairs, and charge my phone. Ivan, show us more of your book. I'm not going to, and I can't. My other phone doesn't work anymore. It's done. It's finished. My other phone, I think I broke it. I don't know. When it fell down, I broke it. It doesn't work anymore. So like, either way, I can't show you guys anything, which is good. I don't want to show you anymore. I don't want to spoil story for you, man. You'll find what I mean when you remember my book is sick. It's a masterpiece, you know? Yeah, so you're going to be serious with your savings? Yes, I'm going to be serious with my savings. I'm actually going to put my foot down here. Ivan, stop getting beer and smokes. Every day, save your money. Yeah. My goal is to save a good $500 to $550 a paycheck from both jobs. I save $1,000 a month, so by the end of the year, I can save $7,000. $8,000 by the end of the year. Yeah. And I can get my book proofread and design my cover. And if I end up saving that, I can even make that movie with Vincent Valentino, right? Yeah. No, Ivan, the money off the Zane's brand is yours. You wrote the book. This is your brand. Don't hate them, son. And what? Do not let the gates do you, Ivan. Like, you have no idea how rich they are. All the money in the world goes to the gatekeepers. The 400 trillion some dollars that's made around the world goes to the gatekeepers. They take a piece of that. And don't let them take you out of your 20 off your book, man. They're fucking greedy pigs. That money belongs to you. It doesn't belong to them. They're just greedy pigs. They want to take your money, Ivan. Because they haven't had it. They don't want you living that life with VJ. It's one of the beauty. I'm saying, I don't even say, yeah. All the trillions in the world goes to you, and you want to take my 20 million, man. You're fucking greedy, man. And 20 million to the gatekeepers is pocket change because they have an envy. They don't want me to control my money and being that rich. They also want to take my $20 billion off my book. But you're not taking my money. Zero. That money's from you, VJ. It's not for you. You're not touching it, man. It's my money, not yours. Don't hate them, saying, yeah. Yeah. There. I mean, how you do, man? How do you make your character jump on the page? I told you I have a gift. That's why. What? I have to have a gift. That's why I'm an amazing storyteller. My book is sick, I know. Are you gonna keep all those notebooks as treasury? Yes. Those notebooks that I wrote my book on, I'm going to keep that as treasury. I'm going to keep it with me forever. I'm going to store it in my treasury. Ivan, yeah, like this is what I used to write most of my book with. Like volume 2, volume 3. And I'm going to store it as treasury. It's sacred to me. Because without that book, I wouldn't be a multi-billionaire with VJ, right? I'd be, on the keys, right? That's my father, like, Ivan, you happy now that I gave you the keys? Even though everyone hates you with the keys, because of these keys, you didn't sell the gates, and you get VJ fresh yourself, and you control your own money, you get your freedom, and you made your like 20 million off your book, man. Yeah, had you not had these keys, you never would have made this money, Ivan. The gates would have stole all your money and given you VJ the peanuts. Yeah. The gates are never gonna let me VJ be billionaires. It's not gonna happen, man. They have an envy. Crazy people. Yeah. The proof is VJ. She sold out to the gates. So even when she sells out to you and you're under her and you control her money, you won't even let her be worth her billions too, because you're fucking crazy, man. And that's why I'm not selling you, man. You're gonna dupe me too. You think I'm stupid? You're gonna dupe me too. I'm an idiot, man. Yeah, man. You're gonna dupe me too. There you go. Some center. Oh, I work at Denny's tomorrow, but Denny's is not that bad, right? But I have no music because all my music was in my old phone. So now I'm going to sign up to Spotify so I can listen to music. I might sign up tonight to Spotify so I can listen to music on my phone, right? Because listening to music when you wash dishes helps you with the stress. And so I'm gonna sign up with Spotify. It's only $15 a month. I can afford that, right? Yeah. I mean, you're crazy. You think Xanus is better than Lord of the Rings, World Times, Game of Thrones. Well, you guys read sections of my book. I think you guys don't understand. When I say my book is the best novel ever written, I'm not playing around. Susanna? I printed a bit of my prologue. I'm not going to show you it because I don't want to spoil the story for you. I already showed you enough of the prologue, right? Don't want to spoil the story for you, obviously. I'm gonna go through volume 3. I might polish up a bit of my dialogue, because volume 3 you can argue is the most raw out of the 3 volumes. But in my opinion, it's the most entertaining because it's the big climaxes, the big plots of the story. But when I read volume 3, it feels a little more raw than the other 2 volumes when I read it. But I mean, I still like it the best, right? But you can argue volume 2 is more raw. It just depends on how the art hits you. But I mean, yeah. Ivan, what if everyone in the world buys your book? If everyone in the world buys my book, I'm going to make like my 80, 90, 100 billion off the book. Something crazy, man. Like $100 billion bucks. But it's not going to happen because most people in the world don't speak English. Only 1.35 billion people in the world speak English. So it narrows it down to maybe 1 billion copies sold, 800 million copies sold, 700 million copies sold, 900 million copies sold. I sell 900 million copies, I make like my $17.5 million on my book. Yeah. Hence why I'm most likely going to make 10, 14, 20 million off the book. But if everyone buys it, which is not going to happen, they don't understand my book, I'll make like my 100 million. But it's only the English speaking world that'll buy my book. So Europe, North America, and like Australia, New Zealand, and the people in the foreign countries who speak English, they will buy it. Who understand it well enough, they'll buy it. But most people in the Middle East, China, Japan, South Korea, North Korea, India, South America, Mexico don't understand a word of Africa, don't understand a word of English, because they won't buy my book. So, Sarah? Yeah, they won't buy it. Hence why it's most likely 10 to 14 to 20 million. I might even make 20. I might sell maybe 950 million copies. I make like my $20 million. He's Ivan, you made $20 million off your book. I'm like, yeah. She's like, holy shit, that's a lot of money, Ivan. Are you gonna share that with me? I'm like, yeah, I will. Relax, I'll share mine with you. Are you gonna share mine with me too, BJ? I'm not sharing mine with you, Ivan. You gotta share mine with me too, man. That's how it works. Yeah. Yeah. Yo, Ivan, I believe you. When you said you were gifted, I believe you, Ivan. Yes. Now that I showed you guys a section of my book, you guys don't understand. When I told you I was gifted, I'm a gifted storyteller, Ivan. You're a fucking amazing storyteller. Yes, my book is sick. And I also showed you the beginning of Their Unique, which I wrote off the top of my head. And it was still fucking entertaining. Ivan, that was entertaining, I know. If I read Their Unique, it would have been a masterpiece too. I don't think it would have been as good as Zane is. Maybe the woman might like it better. But I don't think Their Unique would have been as good as Zane is, obviously. But it would have been the best romance novel ever written too. Samsara? Because I'm a crave genius. Emma. Emma. Yeah. I'm still not convinced. I don't think your book's better than Lord of the Rings. Okay, if you don't think my book's better than Lord of the Rings, then that's your opinion. I understand. Art hits everyone different ways. But be honest, man. When you read my book and you compare it to Lord of the Rings and Way of Kings and Game of Thrones, what story stands out more to you? What's more entertaining? Your book, Ivan. Yes, my book's more entertaining to read. When you read it, right? It's fresh. The characters jump on the page. It's entertaining. It's a funner read than those books. Those books feel dry. More dry when you read it, right? The characters, the story doesn't really come alive. Like when you read my book, it feels like life hasn't breathed into the page. When you read my book, it's a masterpiece, man. Yeah, man. My book is a masterpiece. Yeah. So it'll be a public embarrassment in the industry, yes. When I release my book, it will be a public embarrassment in the industry. Because no author, no fancy author kept the reader hooked the way Ivan did. That's why I told you, guys like Brandon Sanderson, George R. R. Martin, J.K. Rowling, and even guys like Stephen King and the other and Stephanie Meyer, who wrote Twilight, they're all gonna feel like shit. It's not just the fantasy authors; all the authors in the industry are gonna feel like shit. Because there's something unique about Ivan's writing, and that stands out compared to our writing style. His characters jump on the page. His stories so fresh and entertaining. Their stories are entertaining, but they're not as entertaining as my book, obviously. And that's why I've been bragging to you guys for years, saying that my book is the best fantasy novel ever written. Because when I read my book, I knew it was number one. Because I read Lord of the Rings in grade 5. I read the Fellowship of the Ring in grade 5. I did a project on it. Yeah, I read the whole book in grade 5, and I read again as an adult, obviously. And I read my book. I'm like, yeah, my book is more entertaining than Lord of the Rings. I knew it was number one. Because the characters jump on the page, I'm laughing while I'm reading it. Like, this book is fucking sick. I'm hooked. And yeah. Some Sarah. I don't believe you. I don't believe what you show as you wrote it. I think you had help. No, guys, I'm not lying to you guys. No, what I showed you guys, I wrote it, man, on my own, man, with no help. Yeah, nobody helped me with my book. That's all me. I wrote it all on my own with no help. That's why it's also embarrassing, because all these famous authors in the book publishing business, they have help from the best editors in the business. Guys like Brandon Sanderson, George R. R. Martin, J.K. Rowling, they had help from the best editors in the business, man. Whereas I had no help from any editor. I did everything myself. Hence why some of my story is a little tiny bit raw, because I had no editor polishing up my book. And yet my book is better than their books. It's more entertaining than their books. I wrote on my own, man. The only thing I need help with is proofreading, the punctuation, spelling, typos, sentence structures. That stuff I need help with. But the story is all me. No one helped me with my story. I wrote it on my own, man. With no help. I'm not lying to you guys. What I showed you, I wrote that, man. I wrote it, yeah. I had to write on my own because I knew if you have someone else help you with a book, they now have they now control a part of your brand. And for me to 100% control Xanus, I had to write it all on my own. Obviously, I was initially supposed to write it with my younger stepbrother. I was initially supposed to write with him. But then he kept procrastinating. I'm like, oh, hey, are you gonna work on the book or not? Yeah, we'll work on it. Then one day we started the prologue, and he had this stupid idea about like some bloodstone. I'm like, yeah, that's stupid. He was lazy. He was procrastinating. I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm just gonna write it on my own. And God protect me. Had he wrote it with me, the Gates would own 50% of my brand. Yeah, because I wrote everything myself, I own 100% of the brand. It's mine. The Xanus brand is mine. Xanus is mine. It's my brand. The Gates don't own my brand. They own everything in the world, but the book you don't own, man. You didn't write it, man. That's my brand. Hence, the billions is for me, but it's not for you. You're not touching my money. I have the keys on how to sell to you. Don't hate them. Yeah. Oh man, I have to work tomorrow to do this. Yeah. 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 After this, I'm gonna take a shower. A nice hot shower, and I'll enjoy the show with you guys on my phone. The folks took my Chromecast. I'm gonna purchase another Chromecast this paycheck because they took my Chromecast. I'll just purchase one on Amazon. Yeah, because I hate watching stuff on my phone. Right? I guarantee you guys watch my videos on your TV, right? Some of you guys might watch it in your room and on your phone. I guarantee a lot of you guys, you watch it on your TV with your Chromecast. Yeah, you watch my show on your TV, right? Yeah. Why is Tactics called the Last Prince? Because it's like the final generation, right? Yeah. I don't explain in the book, but when you read the book, you'll make sense. Like the 10th generation is like the final generation. So sometimes I read stories that the 10th generation is like the final generation. That's why they always say the last heir to the throne, the last prince. It's the final generation. You'll certainly when you read volume 3, it all makes sense, honestly, right? Yeah. Is Tactius afraid of Eretat? Yes, he is, but he's bold and brave. Well, he is afraid of Eretat, but eventually he's bold and he's more brave. He doesn't fear him as much. You'll see what I mean when you go on with you. That's why I don't spoil the story for you, obviously. That's why I wrote a masterpiece. But all the human beings fear Eretat and Ephesus. They're devil beings, man. They're cursed animal beings. That's why they all fear them. The Southerners fear the wolves, the Northerners fear the wolves. Obviously. Remember how in that scene with Sirius and Papari, when Takis meets him, and in the end of that chapter, he says, "We must go inside. Nighttime's nearing, and people fear the wolves." The Saurons always have this fear of the wolves. What if the wolves come here? That's why at night he said at nighttime we should go inside. People fear the wolves. Obviously, yeah. Because the Saurons are vulnerable and they're exposed in the south. Obviously, because they're in Eretat's territory, obviously. He's the king of the south. Is Eretat the king over, like, Eli and all them? He is, but he doesn't rule them. It's his territory. Like if Eratat came to the south and he told Eli to do something, Eli would have to listen to him because Eratat is the king of the south. But the wolves never come to the lands, obviously, and not until Taki's generation. That's when Eratat says enough's enough. All the Southerns wipe him out. Either wipe him out or wipe some of them out, capture some of them. Because the wolves can also capture you, right? Either kill you or they show a bit of mercy and they capture you. And you're a slave. You could be a slave. To Eratat. But the wolves have no mercy for even children, as you read in that passage. They even killed the children. That's why my story's dark. Like the Phias and the other wolves, they killed, like, they slaughtered even the children in Cyrus. That's why looking at a masterpiece. Because that's a bit too dark. I'm like, Peter, no. I want them to slaughter the children. That way, it's a powerful story. The world knows that they're devil beings. It creates a powerful story. I know what I'm doing. So I'm saying, yeah, but Ivan, that's a bit gory and dark. You want to have them like kill children, Ivan? I'm like, Peter, I don't want my story to be Peter. I want it radar. That way, you tell Bob they're devils. That way, the story's powerful, man. It's a better movie. Yes, it's a bit dark, but it makes it powerful. I know what I'm doing. So, Sarah? That's why I want Xanus radar, and I want Eric and the wolves and bats to be devils, walking the most horrific means movie history. Yeah. Some Sarah? Yeah. So the wolves and bats hate the humans, yes. They have an immense hatred towards the humans. They don't like the humans. Why? Well, you see what I mean when you read the book. I don't want to spoil over you, man. That's why I didn't show you Volume 3. Because that's when all the questions are answered and you find out why that world is the way it is. That's why I didn't show you Volume 3. I don't want to spoil over you. That's why my book's a masterpiece and it'll blow you. Once you read Volume 3, your mind will be blown away. Holy shit, this is a masterpiece. Yeah, the story's so deep. It doesn't get any deeper than that. You can't top that deepness. It doesn't get any deeper than that. Hence why I wrote a masterpiece, man. The best fantasy novel ever written. And a masterpiece. And then I wrote a masterpiece. Ivan, what volume do you think the fans like the most? Somebody tells me Volume 2. Fans are going to like Volume 2 the best because I think more fans are going to like Volume 2 more than Volume 3 because Volume 3 I take the story on a different direction that you don't expect, obviously. And you can argue Volume 3 is the most raw with the flow of the dialogue. You can argue, but I mean, well, you can argue Volume 3 hooks you more than Volume 2. It just depends on how the art hits you. But I think most fans are going to like either Volume 3 the best or Volume 2. But I think probably Volume 2 will be the volume that most fans like the best. Just because Volume 3, it's a plot twist. I take the story on a totally different direction. You don't expect that when you read the first 2 volumes. Hence why I think most fans might like Volume 2 the best. But I think some fans might even like Volume 3 better too. It's going to be a back and forth of Volume 2 and Volume 3. And then Volume 1 will be most fans will say it's the worst. Because it's just the build of the story, right? And those chapters are very short. They're not that long. Like all my chapters of volume 1 are like 13 pages, 14, 15 pages on my book. On my computer, in book form, maybe 25 pages per chapter, 28 page chapters, whatever it is. They're shorter, whereas volume 2 and volume 3 have longer chapters. And volume 2 is better than volume 1, because more things happen in volume 1, in volume 2, right? In volume 1 is just the buildup of the story, right? But some fans might like volume 1 the best. It just depends on how the art hits you. Yeah, I like volume 1 the best. I love the whole thing with the build of the story, light behind the walls. Yeah, they might like volume 1 the best too, right? Some fans are like volume 3 the best. Some fans are like volume 2 the best. But I think most fans are probably gonna like volume 2 the best, just because volume 3, it's a plot twist. I take the story in a totally different direction. But volume 3 is when it gets deep and dark. It's a dark episode of Taki's life. That's why it's my favorite. But you can also argue volume 2 is better. It just depends on how the art hits you. It's a back and forth with volume 2 and volume 3, in my opinion, right? Depends how the art hits you, right? But volume 3 is my favorite. Yeah. Okay, my bag is low, guys. I'm gonna go upstairs and get the charger. Be back in a sec. Let's get rid of the weight level on. Alright, I'm back, guys. Just have to charge my phone, otherwise my phone's gonna shut off on you guys. So I gotta be quick here. Charge my phone before it shuts off on you guys. Yeah. No, hurry up, Ivan. It's about to shut off on you guys. Okay, it's charged now. Yeah. My battery was at 1%. It was just about to shut off on you guys. Thank God I got the charger. How did you know your battery was up? Because my screen went dark. When your screen goes dark, that means your battery's very low, right? Yeah. 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 Alright, your book is sick, yeah. So what I showed you guys impressed, yeah, your book is sick, yeah. My whole book is like that, it's constant entertainment. I'm not lying to you guys, man. My whole book is constant entertainment. It's a masterpiece, man. Hence why you're looking at raving reviews, I don't know, 4.8 out of 5, 4.7 out of 5, 5 out of 5. A horror, thrilling, epic fantasy adventure, a page turner, fun popcorn fantasy, an entertainment ride of a lifetime, a literary cinematic masterpiece. Yeah. Some reviews, they might even say a literary cinematic masterpiece, because when you read my book, it's like reading a book movie, because the characters constantly jump on the page. And it's so entertaining. Yeah, it's an amazing book that I wrote, man. And that's why the gays won't enjoy your brand on it, because they know you wrote a masterpiece. They know your brand will be more popular than Harry Potter. Yeah. I didn't just write some shitty book to make money. No, I actually wrote a masterpiece. Because I'm gifted, I wrote a masterpiece, man. As you guys read section of my book, it's a masterpiece. Yeah. But some fans might hate me. Yeah, Ivan's book's a bit raw compared to these other novels. Yeah, even though it's a bit raw in some of the dialogue that you caught, obviously, it's still more entertaining than these other fucking novels that you read. Yeah, these other fantasy novels that you read. Yeah. Ivan's a bit of a lazy writer. He doesn't take time describing the landscapes. And it's a bit vague. I'm like, yes, I keep it vague on purpose because I know if I dump you with pages of one line, it's like I'm gonna bore the reader. Hence why I deliberately kept it vague. I know what I'm doing because I learned my lesson from reading these other novels. Because I know all these fantasy novels that I read, the author spends like 3-4 pages dumping you with what the land looks like, what the character looks like. If you do that, you're gonna bore the reader more, and your story won't be as entertaining. If you get to the point with the characters and the dialogue and their actions, and you keep it vague, your story will be more entertaining. I know what I'm doing. But because these authors don't have the heavenly gift that I have, they don't know how to do a thing whereby they keep it vague and they make the warbling jump on the page. They don't have the heavenly gift that I do. But even though my warbling's vague, the warbling still jumps on the page as you guys read because the characters make it real. The way they talk and everything, how they describe the world. There is another passage in north. It's due west from here in the mountain of Gileas. You know what I'm saying? Hold it. There are legends of dwelling creatures and devils that live there. The way they speak, it makes the warbling jump on the page. This must be Galathia, the great forest. Even though it's vague, the warbling still jumps up because the characters make it real through their perspective. Because I'm a genius. But these authors don't know how to do that, hence why they spend pages describing you what the sword looks like, the land looks like, even the characters look like. And when you do it, yes, it's beautiful written literature, but the story's not as entertaining. It's a bit more boring. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, if you dump the reader with like pages of what the land and the characters like, the sword, the door, and everything, you're gonna bore the reader, man. That's why I don't do that. That's why some people might say, "Oh, Ivan's a lazy writer. He kept his wobbling vague." Yes, I deliberately kept it vague because I knew if I dumped you with what the land looks like, the sword, the character, I'm gonna bore the reader. Yeah, it's boring when you just read what descriptions of the land and the characters. And you spend 4 or 5 pages dumping the reader with all that stuff, and after that you have the dialogue, and your story's not as entertaining. It's boring. It's not as interesting as I'm saying. Yeah. Yeah. Your book's sick, man. I know, John. My book is sick. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I can't wait to play Caritas. I know, John Mega. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, my book is sick. Yeah, sick book, man. And a sick movie. Amazing movie. Yeah. Yeah, but Ivan, seriously, man, how do you do it, man? How do you make your characters come alive like that? It's a heavenly gift that I have. I don't know the trick. I can't tell you guys. I'm just gifted that. I know how I write, and they just jump on a page. I can't tell you my trick. I have to have the gift. That's all I'm gonna say, right? I don't know how I write like that, man. God just gave me a gift. I can't tell you my secret sauce, right? I don't know how I write like that. The only thing I can tell you, if you want to write a more entertaining fantasy novel, focus more on your characters, their actions, their dialogue, what they think, how they act in that world, less on info dumping and with the world building. Obviously, your world building is important too, but focus more on your characters. Are you saying we shouldn't dump the reader with what the world is like? No, there's nothing wrong. Even I give a little bit of descriptions about the world and everything, but keep it as short as possible. Don't spend like 5 pages doing it. Otherwise, you're gonna bore the reader. Spend maybe a paragraph describing what the land is like. You know what I'm saying? And then get right to the point with the characters. But I told you have to have the mind to do that, because even if you focus on your characters, you have to be able to write good dialogue in your fantasy world. If your dialogue is not good, your book won't be good. So you have to know how to write good dialogue, how to have good flow of dialogue. You need to have the brain to do that. Hence why you need to have the gift. Don't hate me saying, yeah, if you don't have the gift, you're gonna have a time writing out a fantasy novel, a good fantasy novel, right? Because there are a lot of smart English students who can write a fantasy novel, but their fantasy novel's boring. It's not entertaining. It's a boring novel. It has plot holes, a lot of contradictions. They don't know how to write an entertaining story, obviously. Because what the smart English person does, they rely on their knowledge of the English literature, their beautiful poetic choices of words to wow the reader with where they read your book. But the story's boring. It's not entertaining. The characters are dull. It's a boring book. The world doesn't really feels a bit, you know what I'm saying, fake. Yeah, that's why fantasy is the hardest genre to tackle, because you have to make your fictional world feel real. You have to make it feel real when you read the book, right? That's why fantasy is very difficult to write. Most difficult genre to tackle. That's why a lot of authors, they steer away from fantasy, because fantasy is the most difficult genre to get into, man, for writing a book, man. It's tough because you have to create a fictional world and make it feel real, make your characters feel real. You also have to be good at writing dialogue for old English style speech, obviously, because for fantasy worlds, most authors who write fantasy books, the characters usually speak old English style speech with a bit of modern words. Like my book is mostly old English style speech, as you guys read. I also mix it with some modern words too, obviously. When you read some of my book, right? Yeah. You have to make your wobbling come alive. And when you guys read my book, does my wobbling feel real? Yeah, and it feels real. Your wobbling comes alive on a page. Your characters come alive on a page. Yes, because I'm a gifted storyteller. With the North and the South, yeah. The Northers like the South. The Souths like the Northers. Yeah, I'm not sick. I know my book is sick. Yeah. He's Ivan. I love your book. I know my book is sick, sweetie. You know, that's a sick book. Yeah, I know it's a sick book. I'm saying, yeah. 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 The Syrians rich people, Ivan. No, they're not. They're not poor, but compared to the Sakians The Safians are rich people. Well, no. The Safians are not rich people, but Eli, because he's the leader of Safius, he's the leader of that land. He's very wealthy, and Cornelius is a captain of the blacksmiths, his right-hand man in command. He lives with Eli in his house. He's rich too. I don't really describe his wealth, but he's obviously rich. Job is his hired caretaker, and he tells Cassius that's known as, yeah, Eli pays me good wages. So Job was rich too. Job probably makes maybe, I don't know, 400, 500, 600K a year as a caretaker. He's rich. And Eli is like he's worth maybe his $30 million. He's wealthy. He's not as wealthy as Taki Suetonius and Cassius, because they're from the Heavenly Kingdom and they're the royal family, man. They're fucking rich, those guys. Yeah. Remember how you read in the prologue? He's like, what gift can we give Taki? Taki already has great status and wealth given to him. So the wealth that Queen Sarah and Taki first have, it's given to Taki. Taki he already has great status and great wealth. What gift can we give him? Yeah, they didn't know what gift to give Taki because he already inherited all the wealth and status of the Xanus kingdom, the Heavenly Kingdom. And Taki is like, I want to forge a sword for him. And that leads to him, he talks to the eagles. I'm saying, eagles, watchers of the north, do you hear your king? You know what I'm saying? And you call on us, O king, our sincere joy in your child's birth, and you have my welcome. What is it you seek from us, Tactius? Make haste to Safius. Tell him the king of Xanus sent you. Have them forge a sword for my son, the prince, as you command, sire. I was sick. I know my book is sick. Even your eagles jump on the page. I know. Even my eagles jump on the page. I know. My book is sick, man. How you do it, man? I don't know, man. It's a gift I have, man. I don't know how you do it, man. It's a gift I have, man. I have to get it from the heavens. Yeah. That's why Sirius told Tactius, hide your sword, because Eli and them are the ones who forged that sword for Tactius. And that's why he's like, hide your sword, and your name Tactius not be used here. They know, the Salyans know about Tactius the First. And if you have your name Tactius, they can be curious that you're a Northern. The Salyans like Northerns. And your name Tactius is dangerous in the South. You can draw the wolves here. Because you have Eretat spies. I don't explain it in the book, but you have Eretat spies. If the spies find out there's a man named Tactius in Safius, Eretat knows Tactius versus son's name is Tactius. When you read the prologue, you can have him killed. That's why Tactius, to protect himself, he had to have a fake identity. He didn't like being a farmer, but he's like, it's for your own protection, Tactius. Yeah, and that's why you have to play along, obviously. Now, at least the rest of the story, I won't spoil the story for you. Yeah. That's why the Salyans and Eli and them, they just can't believe. When Tactius says he's the Prince of Xanus, they can't believe it because he had a fake identity. He claimed to be Colonius the farmer. And all of a sudden, this random guy who claims to be a farmer, claims to be the Prince of Xanus, they can't believe it. They seize him and they throw him in the dungeon. That's where they're going to master that rope. But Lithia believes. She has the faith. Lithia has the faith. That's why Volume 3, when you read Volume 3, Tactius, it's a spoiler, Tactius tells Lithia, you have great faith. Tells her that. And she's the only one who believed Tactius. And Belle, as you read in that passage, right? But you notice how they all get that reaction. That cannot be. Lit, that's crazy speech. No way is the heir of Xanus wandering these parts. We're in the south. Yeah, they can't believe it. She's like, I know, Belle, but they told me everything and I believe them. You know what I'm saying? He's the son of Tactius the First. Tactius the First, so he's the son. Yeah, he's shocked. Yeah, I'm now sick. I know, but look at sick, man. You know? So the Salyans don't know what the Prince of Xanus looks like. No, they don't. The Northerns never come to the South. And in Xanian law, you're not allowed to leave the walls unless for a good reason. If you're fighting the wolves, you have to protect the people. There's context, obviously, but you're not allowed to leave the walls. And Takis broke the law. He left the walls. That's why I wrote a masterpiece. Hence why Eratat and even the Selens, they don't know what Takis looks like. Eratat knows Takis' name is Takis, but he doesn't know what he looks like, obviously. And the Selens don't know, heard stories about Takis first, but they have no idea what the prince looks like, because no one's ever come to the South. And the Prince of Xanus, let alone the Prince of Xanus, is not allowed to leave the walls. And the Prince of Xanus will never come to the South. They can't believe it. That's why they don't believe that Taki is the Prince of Xanus, obviously. That's why I wrote a masterpiece. Please, I'm looking at a masterpiece, man. This is better than the rings. Alright, no, please, better than the rings. It's a masterpiece. And all you Xanus stars, I hope you guys were impressed by what I showed you. Your book looks sick, man. Yeah, you're looking at a masterpiece, guys. And Peter Jackson, Mel Gibson, when you guys read the section of my book, I hope you guys were impressed, obviously. If you weren't impressed, I understand, art hits you in different ways. If you were impressed, then I'm glad that you were impressed, obviously. So I hope I impressed you guys. No, seriously, man. I hope what I showed you from my book, I hope you guys were impressed. I hope you guys now believe when I said my book is the best fantasy novel written. It is the best fantasy novel written. I told you I was gifted. I wasn't playing around. I'm actually a gifted storyteller. You guys probably thought my book wasn't that good when I told you, right? Because my English is very sloppy when I speak. My vocabulary is sloppy, obviously, because I'm not that smart of a guy. And yet you read session, I go, holy shit, man, Ivan's book is sick. Yeah, it's entertaining, man. It's the best fantasy novel written. It's a masterpiece. Yeah. Yeah, Ivan, your book is not cliche. No, my book is not cliche. Because a lot of fantasy books, you have this story about this farmer boy. He meets this princess or something like that, and he ends up becoming king, a warrior. You have the farm boy who becomes a prince. My story is the opposite. You have someone who's a prince from the Holy North. He comes down to the South, and he takes on a fake identity as a farmer, and he ends up liking a Southern. You expect Takis to like a Northern woman, but he ends up liking a Southern woman. And Takis goes through trials and tribulations in his life. He leaves the walls, he meets Circe and Papyri, he uses a fake identity, he has an obsession with Lithia. Like, my prince, wake up, behave yourself. Yeah, he gets thrown in a dungeon. You know what I'm saying? He goes through trials and tribulations in his life. And in volume 3, he's in agony. And Takis is not a Mary Sue, like Rey was in Star Wars, right? Yeah. What is a Mary Sue? A Mary Sue pretty much means like your character has no struggles. Your character doesn't really go through trials and tribulations. You wrote like a character who doesn't really have any obstacles in their life, like Rey did, right? Yeah. Like Rey has very little training, and she bests Kylo Ren in Force Awakens. Obviously. Yeah. Rey was obviously a Mary Sue. She had very little training. She awakens in the Force when she sees Luke's lightsaber. She's like, I'm never touching that thing ever again. And she bests Kylo Ren in the battle. And she's a Mary Sue. Yeah. Whereas Takis is the opposite. He goes through trials and tribulations in his life. Throughout the book, Takis is constantly going through trials. Even in Volume 3, he goes through trials and tribulations. Like, he's in agony, man. At the end of Volume 3, hence why I wrote... Takis has an amazing character arc in my book, right? It's not the cliche thing about a farmer becoming a prince. You guys probably thought it was about that, but no. You have the prince from the north who takes on a fake identity as a farmer. They seize him and they throw him in a dungeon. And his cousins, Tacitonius and Cassius, go through trials and tribulations too. They get captured. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Obviously. That's why my book is sick. I know how to write amazing characters, obviously, right? So Taki doesn't have a trial. In the book, no. They arrest him in his bedroom. Whereas in the movie, I'm going to have him have a trial. People be like, yeah, Ivan, it's better if you have him have a trial. They come in his room, they seize him, and Papyri and Sirius, and after that, he goes on trial, and they ask him the questions. Whereas in the book, they ask him right there and then in his bedroom and all that stuff. In the movie, they arrest him, and he's on trial, and then they ask him the questions, and they seize them, and they throw him in a dungeon. And you have VJ, she's like, Father, what's wrong? I'm gonna add a bit more dog to that scene in the movie to make it more interesting. Not now, Lithia, tell me, it's like that man. Yeah, a sick movie, huh? In the movie, I might add a thing where Eratat's crows, they actually go to Saphius and they ask around, is there a man named Tacius here? You know what I'm saying? And Sirius is like, oh my god, Tacius, the crows are here, hide. They're like, no, there is no man named Tacius, or you can do that in the movie to make it more interesting if you want. Tell people that, you give them ideas. That's not in the book, but you can put that in the movie to make it more interesting, right? Yeah. Most likely not, but you could do that in the movie, right? Make it more interesting, yeah. Because I'm going to be adding a lot of things in the movie to make it more interesting, obviously. That's not in the book. Change a few things, add some stuff, add dialogue. Will you be making more changes or adding more things? Most likely adding more things to make it more interesting. I don't want to change too much of the story. I don't want to ruin the story. But a few things I will change, obviously. But I'm going to most likely add more stuff to make. Like, put Tacius is on trial like Jesus was on trial in Passion of the Christ. Yeah. Do they beat him and everything? No, they don't beat Tacius. But they put him on trial. Yeah. Why does Tacius being thrown in a dungeon humble him? Because the people who we look down on, they threw him in a dungeon, and it humbled him. Okay, even me, who's a Prince of Zanes, even though I have authority over Eli, when I came to the Salt, they seized me and they threw me in a dungeon. He has more respect and he's more humble, obviously. In Volume 2, he's still a cocky prince, as you guys read. But Volume 3 is when he gets way more mature. He's more mature, you know what I'm saying? And that's why I wrote a masterpiece, yeah. That's why in that scene, Tacius actually, he's like, look, Cassius, we can't just abandon these people and have the wolves come and slaughter them and capture them. You know what I'm saying? He's like, cousin, think twice of what you're saying. The Nords don't like the Saladins. He's like, no, Cass, that's an order. And he's like, I should say, your highness. Yeah, yes, listen to Tacius. Tacius is the prince of Xanus, obviously. Yes, listen to Tacius, obviously. So, sorry. Now it leads to that scene when they talk about the X's, right? You know, how many? I'm now sick, I know. Is Ephesus more powerful than Eratat? No, he's not. Eratat's more powerful than Ephesus. Ephesus is very powerful too, but Eratat's more powerful than Ephesus. Obviously. Yeah. Can Cassius and Suetonius take Ephesus? No, they can't. Ephesus would kill them, obviously. They can't take Ephesus, those guys. They can take on the strongest, fierce wolves like Bo and Morale. Like Suetonius fights Bo the Pit Watcher in the war. Cassius fights Morale the general of the Wolf Army. They can hold their own against those guys, but not like Ephesus and Eratat. They can't beat those guys. They're not powerful enough. Yeah. Because Tacius is the greatest swordsman in the lands. But he's also arrogant and like you get some anarchism with Tacius, right? He's arrogant and he's arrogant, you know. It's stupid. So Takis has to get used to being the farmer. Yeah, hence why you always read in the literature chapter. He says, "I am I mean Colonius." Yeah, he's getting used to being Colonius. You guys caught that when you read it. Yeah, I mean Colonius from the land of Cyrus. Yeah, he tumbles on his words. Yeah, he's getting used to being the farmer boy. He hates being the farmer boy. That's why he's like, I'm really starting to get annoyed at this whole farmer thing. You know, I said, I'm gonna kill you. Yeah, he hates being the farmer boy. That's why when Eli's like, rise, my servant friends, it's time for chores. And he's like, what time is it? It is time for chores. He's like, go away. he hates being the farmer boy. Excuse me? I know, that was funny. I know. That was funny. I was saying, yeah. Because Takis works for Eli in Lithia chapter. He works for him. Yeah, I don't want to spoil store for you. Yeah. Yeah. Why does he work for them? Because Eli offered them he said, you guys can stay in my house for free, but in exchange you have to do chores. That's why Takis, he works for Eli, and he hates being the farm boy, but he has to play along. That's why I don't want to spoil over you. So I'm going to read that chapter, obviously. I go to Masterpiece. Yeah, man. So Safi's has a lot of entertainment. Yeah, you guys read that passage when Job was escorting them to Eli's house. I said there was a lot of entertainment around the streets. And Papyri and them can hear the blacksmiths forging the weapons a little bit in the armory. It seems like Safi's is hard at work. And yeah, these are the most skilled tradesmen of the land. Of the land. Wow, sounds like fun. It's hard work, young lad. Nothing for a farmer. I'm now sick, I know. Yeah. Ha, I've only seen my castle. Yeah, Takis is cocky. Keep it down. Remember, you're from Cyrus. I'm now sick. I know my book is sick. Yeah. So think about this. Eli has his like massive, huge house. Huge house. He's very wealthy. And even Taki's like, yeah, even though Eli has a nice house, it's nothing compared to my fucking castle in Xanus. Yeah. I have my royal castle in Xanus. Ha, I've only seen my castle. Yeah, he's cocky, Takius. Keep it down. Remember, you're from Cyrus. Papyri said it right. Yeah. Look, it's sick. Almost done here, guys. Who's the bravest Southern? Cornelius and Papyri are the bravest when you read the book, obviously. Papyri, even though he like fears the wolves and everything, he's very brave. When you read volume 3, he's like, we could take Eretad. He's all cocky, obviously, because he fought the bats. He held his own against the bats. We can take Eretad. And Cassius is like, Papyri, don't fool yourself. None of us can take Eretad. He tells him that in volume 3. I almost spoiled for you. Yeah. And Cassius is a very powerful warrior, and even he tells Papyri, look, man, even I, who's a general of the Zane army, I can't even defeat Eretad. They know they can't defeat him. Yeah, he's too powerful. You'll see what I'm going to read the book. I won't spoil for you. Yeah. Pat, don't fool yourself. None of us can take Eretad. Yeah, he's too powerful. Yeah. Cornelius is also brave too. He's brave too, obviously. Papyri and Cornelius are the bravest Southerns. Obviously, right, when you read the book, right? Yeah. Like in the cackling scene with the demonic bats, this is all I'm going to say. Taki tells Papyri, be brave. He's like, be brave, obviously. Papyri has never fought in battle before. He's a Southern, too. He's like, you'll protect me, Taki. He's right. He's like, yeah, don't worry about it. I'll protect you. I'm saying. He's like, Pat, be brave. Yeah, when the demon bats are approaching, yeah, I will spell so for you. Yeah. And civilians are all scared. And it's what looking at a masterpiece of a movie, man. Imagine adapting onto the screen. Because I'd be looking at a masterpiece. This is better than Lord of the Rings. I hope it's better than Lord of the Rings. It's better than Lord of the Rings, yeah. In the end war, does Tactius fight on horses? No. When you read Volume 3, Tactius tells the people, he's like, spare the horses of death. He doesn't want the horses dying by the wolves' hands. He's like, spare them of death. He will fight them on foot. I don't want the horses dying. Yeah. And Tactius likes his horse. He doesn't want his horse dying. So in the end war, they fight on foot. They don't fight on horses. You know the end war in Return of the King, the Diversion? Yeah, I think something like that. They fight on foot, obviously. Does Aratat ride a horse? No, he doesn't. The Aratat and the wolves, they march on foot. When you read the book, right? I was supposed to, yeah. So Tactius becomes mature in Volume 3, yes. He becomes so mature, he prays, man. You know how Jesus prays in the Bible? Yeah. Tactius becomes so mature, he's such a changed man. He prays. Yeah. In the agony scene and also later on. I almost spoiled a story for you, man. That's why when I'm matches, man, here's Ivan, man. He's more mature, he prays, like Jesus. I'm like, yeah, I'm looking at our matches, I know, Peter. This is better than my Lord of the Rings, Ivan. I know, Peter, it's better than Lord of the Rings. No, I was man. I enjoyed the work more in Jared Toy's Lord of the Rings. And I'll be as Lord of the Rings. So I was man. I enjoyed the work more in Jared Toy's Lord of the Rings. And I'll be as Lord of the Rings. Well, I even like this story blows my Lord of the Rings story out of the water. I know. This is a powerful story, man. This is a masterpiece. Ivan, how'd you call this story? Man? This is the best story ever told. I know, Peter. It's a masterpiece. It's a masterpiece, so said, yeah. That's why the games want to control your brand, Ivan. You're a masterpiece, man. They want to control your brand and take you and VJ's Blaines, but the Blaines, I don't know, the 20 Blaine off the books for me and VJ, you're not touching my money, man. This is for me and my wife. It's not for you. You're not touching my money. There you go. Some sound. Yeah. Yeah. How deep is Volume 3? The only thing I'll say is Volume 3 is so deep that Tactius is in agony at the end of Volume 3. He also prays. That's all I'm going to say. And some of his Selden friends and some members of his family are crying, obviously. And all the Selderns and all his friends and his cousins, they worry for him. The civilians worry for him. It's deep. It's very deep and powerful, man. That's why I wrote a masterpiece. It's the best fan's ever written. It's a masterpiece. That's why I didn't show you Squad of Volume 3. Because I don't want to spoil story for you, man. That's why it's my favorite, right? You can argue Volume 2 is better. It just depends on how the art hits you, right? But Volume 3 is my favorite, but you can argue Volume 2 is better. It just depends on how the art hits you, right? Yeah. So the agony is real. Yeah, I think something like Jim Caviezel's agony for me playing the role of Tactius from the movie. Yeah, people tell me, Ivan, I want you to destroy the role like Jim Caviezel did in Passion of the Christ for the agony scene. And yeah, my Volume 3 is so deep, it's even deeper than the story of Jesus, right? It's even deeper than that. Well, no, the Jesus story is deep because Jesus is in agony because he has to save the world from Satan's grasp, saving them from hell. Yeah, it's just as deep as the Jesus story, obviously. But I think it's even deeper. It's deeper because Erit and them are walking devils and demons. And yeah. It's deeper than the Jesus story because the Tactius story is so deep in Volume 3, whereby the civilians are crying, his friends are crying, some of his family members are crying. Yeah, you have like his mother, his sister, they're crying. Some of the women are crying. I won't spoil the story for you in the end of Volume 3. Yeah, and all his friends and family members, they worry for him, man. They have a worry for him. Yeah, it's deep and powerful. That's why I wrote a masterpiece, man. The book is sick. Last of Xanus is the best Francis ever written. Yeah, man. Are the ancestors powerful, Ivan? Yes, they're very powerful. You have the ones in the south that are devils, and the ones in the north are holy. That's all I'm gonna say. I won't spoil the story for you, and that's why I didn't show you Volume 3. And they're both sides of the ancestors are very powerful. They're very powerful beings. And that's why Volume 3 is my favorite. You'll see what I mean when you read Walking with the Ancestors and also the War and Becoming King, the final chapter of the war. You'll see how powerful they really are. I don't want to spoil the story for you. But Ivan, is it about the ancestors? No. It's Tactius' story and Eretet's story. It's about Tactius and Eretet and Thesis. It's not about the ancestors. Hence why Peter Jackson wants the ancestors appearing in physical form. I'm like, Peter, what the fuck are you doing? You're gonna ruin my fucking story. It's not about the ancestors. It's about Tactius and Eretet and Thesis. It's not about the ancestors. You're gonna spoil my story, Peter. We can change it. I'm like, Peter, I don't want you making drastic changes in my story. The ancestors can't appear in physical form. Yeah, when you read the book. Like, they can appear in physical form, but when they appear in physical form, they're not really physical beings. They're spirit beings. Were they physical beings before? I don't want to spoil stories. So let me read the book. They don't appear in physical form. Obviously. Yeah. Like, they can appear in physical form, but even though they appear in physical form, they look physical, obviously. They're not really physical. They're spiritual beings. So I'm saying it's about Tactius and Eretet and Thesis. It's not about the answers. That's why I don't want Peter making that drastic change. Hence why I want to be involved with the script. That way, I keep Peter in check. He doesn't make all these drastic changes to my story. Because he might want to do a thing. We could do a thing where we have like your wife VJ and like Aaron Grania and Danielle Millette fight in the movie. I'm like, Peter, don't do that. In Zayn law, women are not allowed to bear arms. You're going to contradict the plot. The Zayn law. You're going to contradict the Zayn law, Peter. Don't make that change. Some Sarah. We could change it. I'm like, Peter, you're actually pissing me off, man. I'm the boss over you. I don't want you ruining my story. I don't want the woman fighting in the fucking movie. You're gonna contradict the Zayn law. Women are not allowed to bear arms in Zayn law, man. When you read the book, I don't want to spoil the story for you. So I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah. Some Sarah. Yeah. So I have Lord of the Rings has better world building. Yeah, as you guys read, when you compare Lord of the Rings and my book, Lord of the Rings by far has the more richer, deeper world building. The Lord of the Rings world building is very, very rich. Like J.R.R. Tolkien even wrote like other books about like the Silmarillion, and the world building is so deep. You have the third age, the second age of Zen, and he describes the lands and everything in detail. But his characters feel more dull, and his story is more dry. My story is more entertaining. Even though my world building is vague, the story is still more entertaining than Lord of the Rings. And my characters are on a page. At the end of the day, it comes down to entertainment. Even though Lord of the Rings has deeper, richer world building than mine, I think my world building is more unique than Lord of the Rings. But Lord of the Rings is deeper and richer with language of the elves and everything, and the black speech of Mordor and everything. Right when you read the book, what? And the Eye of Sauron and all that stuff. My story is more entertaining and the characters are better. My story is richer. Lord of the Rings has richer world building, obviously, than my book. My world building, I think, is more unique, though. But I have a richer story. It's more entertaining. It's more fresh. It's more entertaining when you read it. And my characters are better. My characters are better than Lord of the Rings. The Lord of the Rings world building is better. And my story is even better than Lord of the Rings. The Lord of the Rings story is amazing, with Frodo destroying the One Ring, Aragorn becoming king, the ring possesses you and everything, but it's not as powerful as my story. My story is deeper, it's more powerful than Lord of the Rings. When you read it right now. Yeah. Some saying? Are the wolves scary in your book? No, they're not. You guys read Sexual book. The wolves are not that scary in my book. Even though Xanus is a horror fantasy novel. Well, in Volume 2, they're pretty freaky, but even though Xanus is a fantasy novel, and it's a horror fantasy novel, like, even if you write amazing villain characters in book form, they're not that scary, obviously. But in Volume 3, they're a bit more freakier, but they're not that scary when you read the book. But when I adapt the book to the screen, and I bring those demonic characters like looking at devils, man. Something fucking scary, as I showed you guys, right? Demons and devils. That's why we're looking at a masterpiece, yeah. So the Northerns, yeah, the Xanians are known as Northerns or Xanians, men from the north. The Southerns are known as Southerns, and they're known as Assyrians. You have the Syrians, who are the farmers, and you have the Saphians, who are the blacksmiths. People of Saphians, and you have the people from Cyrus, Syrians. And you have the wolves, who are the wolves of Rak, the devil wolves of Rak, and you have the bats in the Gilead mountains. You have Aratat's spies, you have the eagles, who are the watchers of the north. I wrote a masterpiece, yeah. Is Tactia's sword special? It's special in the sense that it was made specifically for the Prince of Xanes, but the sword doesn't have any powers. Yeah. But Peter might want you to think, why would you think with a sword that has powers? I'm like, no, Peter. I don't want my fantasy sword to be cliche. You know how many fantasy novels that come out, they have the story where the sword has magical powers. The sword doesn't have magical powers. It's a special sword made for the prince. It's special in that sense, but it doesn't have any powers. Like Aragon's sword in Return of the King. It's a special sword. It's the only sword that can actually destroy Sauron, as you guys saw in the prologue, right? With Isildur, right? Yeah. The Taki sword doesn't have any special powers. It's a special sword made for the prince. That's why Sirius is like, Taki is hide your sword. They can't know who the prince's name is. Your name Taki is cannot be used here. You draw the wolves here, and the Saurons don't like the Northerns. Yeah. That's why Takis have to use a fake identity to protect himself, right? Yeah. Yeah. Ivan, Job is an archer. Yeah. Job and Sirius become really good friends. They're like a dynamic duo of archers when you read the book. That's why my book is sick, man. Yeah. Job and Sirius are archers. With Papari is a melee fighter. Takis trains him, obviously. Cassius is a melee fighter. Tacitonius is both. He fights with his bow. He also fights with his sword. When you read Young Tacitus, when Meramis and Cassius train Tacitonius and Tacitus, they train Tacitonius in archery and also sword fighting. Whereas Tacitus is a melee guy. He trains with his sword. He doesn't like being an archer. Tacitus. Cassius doesn't like being an archer either. He fights with his sword. Cornelius fights with his sword. Eli fights with his sword. Yeah, and Job is an archer. Why does Job choose to be an archer? Well, you'll read the section in volume 2. Job wants to be an archer because he wants to have more time to smoke his pipe of weed. That's why he's an interesting character. He's funny. Yeah, I want to have more time. I'm paraphrasing. I want to have more time to smoke my weed. You know what I'm saying? That's why he wants to be an archer. That way he has more time to smoke his weed. He loves smoking weed. He's a pothead, Job. Ivan, really? Yeah, when you read the book, you see what I mean. That's why Job's an interesting character. He's funny. You read the Exit of Sapphies, and you'll see what I mean. Yeah, he's a funny character, yeah. So Job is always high, yes. When you read the book, Job is always high. He smokes every 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, he pulls out his pipe of weed, he smokes it. He's a pothead, man. He loves, even when he fights, he's high. That's why we're going to see Andy Serkis, he's high. He's like, I'm saying, he has that creepy laugh, Andy Serkis, yeah. He's high all the time, yeah. But Peter will tell me, Ivan, I know in your book he smokes weed every 30 minutes, every hour. Tone it down a little bit with the movie. Okay, for the movie we can make a few changes. We tone it down with Andy Serkis smoking weed. But he's a pothead, Job. He smokes weed all the time, right? Yeah, he's a pothead. That's why Tacitonius is blazing the mented trees. Hey, Salder. And yeah, they make fun of him. Northerners are so arrogant. Yeah, Job doesn't like them. Obviously. That's why Xanus will be the best fans I've ever written. You will see what I mean, guys, when you read my book. Anyways, guys, I talked for an hour and 47, almost 50 minutes. That's good enough, guys. Hope you guys enjoy this show. Stay tuned. I'll make a video tomorrow after my shift at Dinty's. This is Ivan. I'm signing out. Peace, guys. Hope you guys enjoy this show. Peace out.